Hello and welcome to Peak Tram News. A big topic recently has been oil, or more accurately, the shortage of oil. Even to this day, few people realize that the world is running out of cheap oil, and that after peak oil, our supply of oil will steadily decrease. The United States is a clear example of this. You're probably asking, what is peak oil? What happened in the U.S.? Martin King Herbert was a geologist and geophysicist. He created the Herbert peak theory, which is a logistic model graphing the rise and fall of cheap oil production. It shows oil constantly increasing until it reaches the highest point on the graph, the point when the most oil possible to be produced would be produced. From there, a sharp decline follows, leaving us with very little oil to work with, in just matters of decades. In 1949, he predicted cheap oil production would peak in 1970 in the United States. Many people made fun of him for his prediction, assuming that the United States would never run out of oil. They were right. The world is not going to run out of oil, however we are losing our cheap oil at an unbelievably fast rate. Cheap oil is getting more oil, thus energy, than the amount of energy invested to create the oil into accessible forms. In this manner, his calculations were proven correct. In 1970, the United States cheap oil production did peak. Within months of the date Hubert had estimated, it then started to decline, as a bell curve, again just like Hubert had predicted. The United States substantially had to turn to other countries for their oil supply. This brings us to his implications. Some of the main implications of Hubert's theory were that oil must be replaced with some sort of alternate energy source, but this is harder than it sounds. Most alternate energy resources take up way too much energy to first create the energy, compared to the amount of energy they give back. Moreover, bigger amounts of alternate energy resources are needed for people's satisfaction levels to be fulfilled. This also leads to the decrease in energy available. The decrease in accessible energy will impact every human, since humans nowadays survive on technology. Some other major implications of Hubert's theory were that 90% of transportation depends on oil. I think that we all know what that means. How are people going to get around efficiently? Furthermore, many foods rely on oil, not only as a critical ingredient, but also as a fuel, to create the various cooking utensils and to import and export the foods. There are numerous ways humans will be affected. The U.S. is not the only country that cheap oil has an effect on. In just years, Mexico will be affected, along with Saudi Arabia. These are just a couple of the countries to be influenced in the next few years. That's it for today. Have a great weekend. Peak Jam News.